6:30 away from Unlimited 2B. Ken Muscatel fires the U25 Jarvis Fire and Water Repair.
Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. In approximately 1 minute, we will have the countdown for your 5-minute gun. In approximately 1 minute, the count for your 5-minute gun. Thirty seconds. Fifteen seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark. There's your 5-minute period. 5-minute period has begun.
Thank you, Mark. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Still looking for Jeff Bernard. No, the piston boat, the last one to come out. And Mark, you'll take him through the score-up period.
Jeff Bernard coming down the front straightaway. Evansville's own Thunder Power, Piston Power, and Jimmy King in the U3 Master Tire. Boat number 5 on the race right now, on the race course, as Jeff Bernard cuts through the lower end of the course. At the same time, Jean Thierret cuts through the middle of the course in the U37 Miss Beacon Plumbing. And we've got 2 boats coming off of the turn. That would be Dr. Ken Muscatel and the Jarvis Fire and Water Repair, and we have David Bryant. David Bryant in the U10 Unlimited Hydroplane out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Ahern Rentals, owned by Kim and Debbie Gregory. Boats at this point are still strung all over the river, all over our Thunder race course, and they will be for another minute or so, and then the slicing and dicing for lane number 1 will begin. We've seen Jimmy King try the outside, a big flying start yesterday. Jeff Bernard likes lane number 1. Dr. Ken Muscatel follows him through the infield at the north end, rather the east end of the race course. 3.5 minutes to go. 3.5 minutes to go before the start of Heat 2B of Thunder on the Ohio 2008. Jean Thierret also parked in lane number 1, and coming up on his outside is Dr. Ken Muscatel. He will be running from the outside in this heat. David Bryant. Now the boats start to form a little bit of a pack, but we'll also see some of them cutting through. Jimmy King cuts through the lower end of the race course, heads up the back stretch, and now Jean Thierret slows down as he comes around the turn, and he has got himself parked in lane number 1, but we've seen it happen before where a boat gets lane number 1, slows way, way, way down, and somebody just drives right around him, picks up the legal overlap, and boy, you've got a traffic jam right there coming off the turn. David Bryant, Jimmy King came around through on the outside of Jeff Bernard. David Bryant had to go to the outside to the right, and Jeff Bernard got caught right in the middle of all of that, but he was in lane number 1 as he came through the infield. And now Jimmy King follows Jean Thierret through the infield as well, and we'll see who can outrace each other. And Jimmy's going to have to go through Jean Thierret's rooster tail and come out to lane number 2, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They're still way early. They're going to have to come around one more time.
Right now, Mark Bernard, I think, looks in good position. Look for him to loop up through the 2.5 course.
Jimmy's coming through. Jean Thierret goes all the way around, and Jimmy King now comes through the course on the east end, right through the 2.5 liter stocks turn, actually. We'll see what Jeff Bernard is going to do. We might have a little traffic jam once again here as Jean Theoret comes off the turn all the way out there. He's in lane number 1. Look out, we got a couple of boats coming right by that buoy. Oh, man, and Jeff Bernard is going to get right into that rooster tail. 1 minute and 39 seconds to go. One more turn for Jimmy King through the infield. David Bryant comes through the infield. These guys are playing cat and mouse, and now Jean Theoret thinks he has lane number 1. Jimmy King cuts through the east end of the race course. The cat and mouse game looks right now as though Jean Theoret is going to be in lane number 1. They're still early in order to cut through that infield one more time. Jeff Bernard in lane number 2. Now David Bryant's going to hang a left, and he's going to run over to the other side of the race course and see if he can get to the backstretch before anybody else. We're at 1 minute and 4 seconds to go before the start, and Jean Theoret has cut through, and now Jimmy King cuts through. Let's see who gets to the backstretch first. Looks like it's going to be David Bryant. But Jimmy King is coming up on the left-hand side, and we're just inside a minute. And Jimmy King is going to take the inside away from David Bryant. It's going to be Bryant in lane 2. Now he's right in the middle of the rooster tail of Jimmy King and may have put the fire out in the U10 Ahern Rentals. He's slowing down. Keeps it on a plane. Jean Theoret in lane number 3. It'll be Jeff Bernard on the outside in lane number 4. And where did Dr. Ken Muscatel go? Well, he's coming down the front straightaway right now. So as they head for that turn number 2, the final time around, Jeff Bernard kicks the skid fin rooster tail up, starts, and Ken Muscatel is going to cut through and try to catch up with the rest. So Jeff Adler, here we go. Jimmy King's on the inside. It is David Bryant in lane number 2. Or is there somebody in between boats? No, David Bryant is in lane number 2. No, it's, yeah, Bryant in 2, Theoret in 3, and Bernard on the outside. Here they come, Jeff Adler.
It's a clean start. We're racing Unlimited 2B, Thunder on the Ohio. David Bryant led him across the line in the Ahern Rentals. It was a good start. 4 of them charge into turn number 1, but Jimmy King, Evansville's Thunderbolt in front. The Master Tire, the turbocharged Allison in lane number 1 is flat out crooked on the back straightaway. Jimmy King in front. Back in second is the Turbine Ahern Rentals as Jean Theoret dropped back in turn number 1. Jimmy King is hauling the mail in front into turbocharged Allison. Second place, David Bryant and Ahern Rentals. Jeff Bernard third in FormulaBoats.com, the U5. Jean Theoret in fourth. Ken Muscatel in fifth. Evansville, stand up. Your Thunderbolt leads after lap number 1. 1 completed, 2 to go for Jimmy King and the Master Tire. David Bryant, oh, he's light. Second place boat, really light. David Bryant. Third to Jeff Bernard in U5, FormulaBoats.com. Fourth to Jean Theoret in the Beacon Plumbing. And Jimmy King, he's laying it to the horn in the U3 Master Tire. Let's make it a 2.5 rooster tail advantage over David Bryant in the Ahern Rentals. Jeff Bernard is settled into third in the U5, FormulaBoats.com. Jean Theoret in fourth. Ken Muscatel has lost an entire wing assembly in cowling on the Jarvis Fire and Rim. King hooked! King hooked it down in turn number 2. He's lost track of the course! And he stayed on course! And he's blowing an engine! The Allison is smoking! The Allison is smoking! David Bryant has taken the lead! Heartbreak for Jimmy King as the Allison has succumbed
Jimmy's
on
pulling
the
into
final
the
lap. David Bryant, your leader. Jeff Bernard has moved to second. Dr. Muscatel's boat in last with the wing assembly gone. Jean Theoret, a break for him. He moves up to third. Tough break for Jimmy King, and Evansville's Thunderbolt is dead in the water. David Bryant now a clear lead. In Kim and Debbie Gregory's U10, the Ahern Rentals. Jeff Bernard remains in second. Jean Theoret in third. Ken Muscatel in fourth. Bryant slows up in turn number 2. David Bryant slowing. Let's keep our eye on the leader. Lots of activity here in Unlimited 2B. Can he hold on? Mesa, Arizona's David Bryant. The tail picks back up. And here's your winner of Unlimited 2B, David Bryant in the Ahern Rentals. Second place in a big 300 points here for Jeff Bernard in the U5, FormulaBoats.com. Jean Theoret, third in the U37. Beacon Plumbing, 2 heats in a row for Jean Theoret to have trouble in turn number 1. And Ken Muscatel minus the tail feathers will come across to get fourth in the Jarvis Fire and Water Repair in Evansville. So unlucky, your hometown boat. The Master Tire, Jimmy King, you saw the smoke coming from the Allison. And Mark Allen, a tough break for Jimmy King, had a dynamite start, but the Allison engine succumbed, and now they're definitely in a must-win situation in the third section.
I'm keeping an eye on Jean Theoret. He's still running at speed up through the east turn. David Bryant comes way to the wide to the outside.
These boats did make an extra lap, so Bryant made an extra lap along with Theoret. We heard no word from the officials during that heat. So unofficially, your winner, David Bryant in the purple and yellow Ahern Rentals. Second place unofficially, Jeff Bernard in the red and white U5, formulaboats.com. Third